this toasty fall makeup look. I've seen so many renditions of this online and they are all gorgeous, but a lot of them are super filtered. So if you've ever wondered what this looks like on real skin, someone who's in their mid-30s, someone who is not using filters, someone who's not using fancy lights or any of that, here you go. Okay, I've got my coffee, so we're all ready to go. I've been loving the Chobani coffee creamer, the cookie dough one. It's really good for fall. So let's get ready together. Hopefully I'm in frame. I have my mirror right here and all of my products. I have my skin already prepped, so we're just gonna jump right into the makeup. So I'm starting out with the Makeup by Mario Soft Sculpt Transforming Skin Enhancer in the shade Medium Dark. And I am applying that with the F4 brush. I alternate between the small side and the larger side on this. Today I'm just gonna use the larger side because I want to look very tan today. I'm not super precise with this. It's a very forgiving product, so you don't have to perfectly place it. It blends out really, really easily. Next, I'm going in with the Tower 28 concealer. I wear the shade 6IE, and I just put a little bit of that under my eyes, a little bit on my forehead, around my nose. I get some redness there, and then I have these little blemishes here that I'm gonna try and cover up. And then a little bit underneath where I just did that contour. Blending most of it out with a beauty sponge, and then I'll use a brush for under my eyes. This is the Mario F1 brush. I use the small side for concealer. I just get the product spread out with this and then I'll go over it with the beauty sponge again to really blend everything. Going in with a tiny bit more on this little acne scar that just will not get covered, and then blend it out. Trying to keep it pretty concentrated on that spot. Oh look, another spot. For this toasty fall makeup look, my favorite combination of blushes have been the two Rhode blushes in the shades Toasted Teddy and Date Cake. So I like the shade Toasted Teddy on the areas where I would normally apply blush, basically everywhere. I'm also putting a little bit on my eyes, and then I'm taking the shade Date Cake just right on the apples of my cheeks, just one little dot on each side. Next, I'm taking the Rhode Glazing Mist and I am spraying my face. That just helps make these products blend a little bit easier. I'm taking that F1 brush again, but the bigger side, and just going to blend that out. It's going to look a little bit crazy at first because these blushes are pretty pigmented, but once everything is blended, it'll be fine. That's what I tell myself. It'll be fine. Blending this until my arm cramps. Who needs the gym when you have cream blush? Okay, I'm happy with that for right now. Once we add powders, it'll kind of tone it down a little bit more. But next I'm going in with the Rare Beauty Liquid Luminizer in the shade Mesmerize. This is such a pretty rose gold shade, so it pairs perfectly with these blushes. I'm just putting a couple of dots up here on my nose. That's it. This highlighter is the difference between Healthy Glow and Freshly Glazed Donut, and we're towing a fine line with this. Blending this out with a sponge. You can also use your finger, but I hate the feeling of having makeup on my hands, so I try and only do that if I'm in a pinch. All of our cream products are on, so now I'm using the Kosas setting powder in the pink shade. Translucent Candy is the shade. Just getting some of this out on the lid. This is always so hard for me to get open. I don't know what my deal is with this. Getting a little bit of product on the lid here and putting it onto one of these little beauty, not sponges. What are these called? Why am I blanking? Whatever this is called. And I am setting my under eye area and also setting my eyelid since I used some of that cream blush there. Taking a little bit more and setting my chin. I always get oily there throughout the day, so I just want a little bit of powder there to kind of offset that. That's the only part of my face that I powder, which is so weird for me because I always had oily skin growing up, so I was used to using a matte powder everywhere, but we're trying to embrace the dewiness a little bit more now. Hi. Just blending this out with the brush. You're welcome. I love you. If you can decode that, help me out. All right, I rarely wear eyeshadow anymore, but for today's look, I'm gonna use the Patrick Ta Major Dimension 3, yes, palette, the matte one. And this has the row of cool tone shades and the row of warm tone shades. I'm gonna be mixing the two. I lost my favorite shade here, it shattered. I was so upset. That was like the one shade that I used all the time. So I'm gonna start with, hopefully you can see this shade and this shade mixed together, and I'm just putting that in my crease. Just kind of lightly, nothing super intense. Getting a little bit more for the other eye and doing the same thing. Bringing it up into my brow. Also taking a smaller brush and putting that under my eyes as well. I want this to be very, very naturally smoky. So nothing super dark, super intense, but just something that has a little bit of depth and dimension. Next, I'm taking this shade here. I would be going in with this cooler tone shade here if I had it, but alas. And just putting this more on the outer part of my crease, like the outer corner area, and slightly bringing it in. Same thing on the other side. Blending for days. Okay, then I'm taking that same smaller brush and taking the darkest shade up here on the warm row and just kind of putting that on the outer part of my lid and outer corner and just dragging it in a little bit. Taking the Dior little highlight quad palette, and I'm using the bronzy shade and putting that on my lid. I love this palette for everything. It's like the perfect multi-use palette. I'm taking the Urban Decay 24/7 Glide On Eye Pencil in the shade Demolition, and I'm going to tightline my upper waterline, lash line, whatever. I really need to sharpen this, and I don't have my sharpener with me right now, so we're just gonna go with it. Hopefully it doesn't look crazy. I'm putting a little bit of this on my upper lash line, and I'll blend it out with a brush just to get a little bit of depth. And I'm taking a tiny little eyeshadow brush, grabbing a little bit of this color here mixed with the tiniest bit of the black, and just blending that liner out. I'm going to fill in my eyebrows just a tiny bit with the NYX Micro Brow Pencil in the shade, oh, I question this every time, Cool Ash Brunette. Just filling in a little bit underneath. And then a little bit on this outer tail area, and then just doing a few little strokes at the top. Blending with the spoolie. And setting with the Maybelline Super Lock Brow Gel. Next up is powder blush. This is the Kosas Blushes Life in the shade Swoon. This is like my all-time favorite blush right now. It's perfect for fall, but it's not too like brown or berry or like what you would typically think of fall. It's a good transition from summer to fall, but also has enough of that pinky tone to look really pretty in the winter too. So I just love it all around. Putting it everywhere I put that cream blush, so basically all over my entire face. Using that Dior palette again and just mixing all of the shades together just a tiny little bit and popping it on my cheekbones and nose. Also taking a little bit of the two top colors here and putting them on my inner corner. Taking the L'Oreal Lash Paradise Latte Brown Mascara and just doing a little bit of mascara on My lashes, I do have my little lash extensions on that I showed in my last video. I had to redo them because the first time was complete user error. I had no idea what I was doing. And for me, the issue was the applicator that it came with. So this time I used my tweezers and it was so much easier, and I think they look better than they did last time. So I'm gonna keep trying it and just see if they continue to get easier over time. Moving on to lips, I'm using the Charlotte Tilbury Iconic Nude Lip Liner. There's oddly a lot of pressure to this step doing it on camera, so all right, good enough. Topping that with the Rhode Peptide Lip Tint in the shade Espresso. This is my go-to shade for fall, it's so good. I've said it before though, this one is very cool tone, so I also like the Laneige, whatever that chocolate lip treatment is. That one is like a warmer brown, it's really pretty too. But I like the cool tones, so this one is my pick. Okay, and because I need this to last all day, I am using the L'Oreal Infallible 3-Second Setting Mist. Okay, so here's the finished look. I really like this look. She's giving toasty, cozy, probably owns too many throw blankets, all of those fall vibes. It's definitely more than I wear these days on a day-to-day basis, but I don't feel too done up where I can't go about my normal errands in my normal day. I hope this was helpful to see on somebody who is in their mid-30s, not using filters, not using like fancy lights. I have a ring light from Amazon that was like $15 that I got back when I was working remotely. Please let me know if there are any products that you love for this type of look and I will check them out, and thank you so much for watching.